So in yesterday's class, we started this error handling, and I have explained you about most of the part, but some of the parts were pending. Let me show you the PPT. Yes. So we have covered default error handler, on error continue, on error propagate. So today I will show you custom global error handler, rage error, and try scope. So before that, I will just show you the examples that we covered yesterday. This was on error continue. So on error continue was it was not stopping the flow. It was just continue. It was just continuing our process, and it was executing the next processor. For example, we have this calling service flow number 3, and if any error occurred here, so it will go to on error continue. It will execute set variable transform message and it will come out. It was like this. So these type of things we already covered. So I have explained you everything. So in this way, one more example I have covered, like if flow comes to call service flow in this call web service. So it will, oh sorry, this one. So it will be like 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and ninth point, if any error comes, so it will go to this 12th, 13, and because it is handled here, then it will go back to the main flow and it will execute the fourth one. So in the same way, there were on error propagate. In on error propagate, if for example we is in happy path, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But for example, if an error execute an error occurred at point number 3, then it will be 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. It will be like this. Today I will show you the Tricat Scope. Okay, so this is the Tricat Scope. This is also, I think I covered yesterday, but I will explain it again. For example, in case error occurred at point number 3, so the flow will be like 1, 2, 3, then 7, 8. After 8, it will go to 10 and 11 because it's a own error propagate. It will handle, but it will stop the flow. It will not continue, right? So that's why on error propagate, it will go to 10 and 11. But in case an error occurred at number 5, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it will go to 9. And because it's a try catch block, it handled inside that, so it will continue to the 6th one. So this was about the try catch, but we'll see today one example of this. So let me go to Anypoint Studio and I'll just close these flows. Let me open this. So yesterday I was showing you this owner continue everything here. Let me delete all these blocks. Okay, so here I will create an no, I will do one thing. I was hitting localhost this one. I will create another subflow. Sorry, another flow here. And in this one, I will use this HTTP requester. Not this one. One moment. Instead of this, I will delete this. What I should do is put the flow ref first. We have start. We'll call this flow. There is a HTTP requester. I'll put a flow ref here. Okay, and here I will just delete this. Okay, and we'll move this database. Okay, so here we are setting a variable. This is the flow ref. In flow ref, I need to give the name of flow. So I will refer the flow, this my DB POC flow. That's it. Start. So I will remove this requester because we want to use only DB. So I will remove this HTTP requester. Now it's a kind of a private flow because there is no source. And now I will take an on error continue into our main flow. And also I will in on error continue, I will set a payload. In that I will just say error entered in main flow on error continue. Okay, it's done. And now because we are having a DB here, so what I will do, I will just use a try catch. And in this try catch, I will put the DB connector. Okay, and in error handling, I will use on error propagate. On error propagate inside the try catch. Okay. In this, I will put a payload. Set payload. This set payload will be here inside this on error propagate. Okay, it's stuck actually. Okay, so inside this, I will set a payload message like error handled in try block of private flow. Okay, this is done. Now there I used in main flow on error continue. In private flow I have used try catch, but I will use one more thing here, on error propagate in the private flow error handling. In there I will just give a message, set payload, so here error, sorry, error handled in private flow on error propagate. Okay, so this is done. Now just use some loggers to showcase you how it works. Logger and one logger here. Okay, one logger after this set payload. Same I'll use after this one, and one logger will be after the last this one. That's done. So our flow is ready. Just save it. Now I will create an error in DB. I will just write down wrong query. So now we have a it will create an error. Okay, so now what will be the output that we need to see? So I've just put a debug point here and we'll run this application and I will show you how try catch will work. Let's see. I will call this flow. If there is a flow ref, it will go to my dbpc flow, but there we have a try catch. So whenever a error will occur in the db connector, it will be handled in this own error propagate. But this is your own error propagate. So it will just, it is handling, and based on that we are setting some payload, but because it's a own error propagate, it will stop the flow. It will also, so after that, it will go to our own error propagate. Here, whatever error occurred on completely this part in the message processors, it will get handled. It will get handled here in main error handling scope in our own error propagate. After this, it will go back to the main flow and there it will be handled inside the own error continue. So what will be the output? Output will be from this payload, this set payload. It will be error handle in main flow on error continue. Okay, so this should be our output. Let me show you step by step once it will deploy. And next example, I will show you like after flow ref, I will instead of using I will not use this owner propagate. I will delete it. Then also error will be how error will handled and how what will be the final message. And after that, I will just remove. I will use owner continue here and we'll see what will happen. So there are three different examples I will show you. And this will cover our complete owner continue, owner propagate, and Tricat scope. And these things, whatever I'm explaining, whatever examples I'm giving, these type of examples only you will get in your MCD level 1 exam, also in your interview. So you will get a screenshot or like a picture of the flow, and they will ask you if error occurred at flow number at the processor number 3, then how the message will get processed, how the error will get handled. So this type of question will be in your exam. Same type of questions. Of course, there can be 100 and number of examples. I'm showing you like some examples. It will give you all clarity. So you can attempt all kind of questions. So it's initializing the flow and it will start. Let me prepare the Postman collection. It's already there. I have put the debug point. It's deployed. Now hit the API from the Postman. Came here. Now go to the next processor. So next processor, go to mule debugger. There is a arrow. This is next processor. Shortcut is F6. So instead of clicking here, I'm just pressing F6 from my keyboard. F6, if you see, because it's a flow reference for this flow. So it is going to this flow first logger. Then it is going inside the try catch block. In try catch block, when we are executing the DB, then it will give us the error. Error is select star from this some a query error because our query is wrong, right? So now it should go to on error propagate because it will not go to this on error propagate. It will go to this on error propagate because it's a try catch block. Whatever in the catch block, it will handle the error. If you see, it's a set payload. Now, if you see here, there is payload is nothing because we did not send any payload from Postman. But now if go to next, then we will get the payload like error handler in the try block of private flow. Now next it came out because whatever error occurred in this DB, it handled, but it's a own error propagate. So it will also give you like it will also because it's handled, but you know the error is still error object is still there, this error object. So that's why you are getting this one. So now it will go to our this on error propagate and now set next. If you see payload error handled in private flow on error propagate. Okay, some spelling mistake, but it's fine. So this payload, our payload is overrided with this payload component. So now next, if you see, it came back after this, it came back to the main flow. Um, it came back to the main flow because it was own error propagate. It is not going to the next component. Like in the private flow, it was next component was logger after try catch, but it is not going to logger. It is just going to owner propagate. Then it's to this owner propagate. Now it came back to the main flow. After the main flow, still the error object is there. We need to handle it, right? So it will go to own error continue. It's handled in owner continue. It's handled. Now it will set the payload like on error handle in the main flow on error continue. After this, just I'm pressing F6, it will come out and we'll see the payload error handled in the main flow on error continue. So this was the payload that we are getting because error is handled and it is printing how we handle. We can during on error continue, we can do whatever operations we want to do or whatever payload we want to send back to the user. So that we can set it here. Like we are setting it like a string, but we can set it like some complete JSON format also. Okay, so this was one example. Now let's go to the next example. This time, what I will do. One moment. I'll just stop this. I'll terminate the flow. So this red mark is just terminating, just to stop the flow. Okay, one moment. I come back. Yes. So guys, this time I'm removing this on error propagate. So we'll see how flow will propagate. Guys, if you feel like if you want, obviously I'm recording, but if you want, you can take a screenshot of these flows and you can implement uh, in your local Anypoint Studio because there are multiple examples. I have already created a Git repository with uh, for error handling. You can take that example. It's created a long time back, but if you want to execute same kind of example, then you can take a screenshot and you can execute. Okay, so now I have deleted on error propagate from this private flow, from the error handling scope. Okay, so now we will run this one. We will debug. We are not running. We are debugging it to show you step by step. So once it's deployed, I will hit the request again and we'll see how the message will get propagated. Guys, if you have any query, just note down at your end and ask at the end of the session. Okay, so it's initialized, I guess. It will start. Initializing, and now it will start. A little bit slow. Okay, it's deployed. Now go back to Postman. Send the request. It came here. Now go to next processor, click on F6. Okay, I'll just make it like this. F6, no payload. It came to our private flow, then DB error occurred, going to on error propagate, logger executed. Now it will go back to the main flow because this time there is no on error propagate or nothing to handle at the private flow. Okay, whatever error came, it handled in on error propagate. We set the payload, then it is going back to the main flow. Okay, so here it will go to on error continue, execute the flow as it is, and we will get the same output. So this is the second example. Now the third one. instead of on error propagate here, what I will do, I will replace it with on error continue. I will add one on error continue here. Set, I will delete this. Oh, one moment. I will just delete this. That's it. And I will change the message error handled in try block of private flow. Okay, so save it and let's see. Once it's deployed successfully, we'll see how it behaves. So this time we have on error continue here in the main flow and on error continue here in the try catch block. So this time I will show you it will go to the main block or not. That I want to show you. So it is stopping and it will start initializing and then it will start the MyDB POC. Started. Go back to the postman, hit the request, came to the main flow, and now it will call the private flow inside the try-catch flow. I'm just pressing F6 to move to the next processor. Okay, so this time error occurred, or instead of F6, you can press just this one, this option in the mule debugger. Okay, so now it's coming to on error continue, handled, logger executed, and now because it's handled successfully, because it's on error continue, it handled completely, and now it will go to the next processor, that is logger. And now if you see the output after this logger, because it called this flow ref, so after executing this, it will come back to transform message. In transform message we are giving this payload, but there is nothing id payload. There in payload we don't have this, all those things. So output will be some error. So instead of this, what I will do, I will just added this payload, and here I will just say payload, because this flow was earlier, this flow was used earlier for database related stuff. So now I replaced it to payload. So it will save it and will run it again. So it will show you the payload from our on error continue of the try catch. One moment. Saved. Clear the console. It will build again. So after this logger, it will go to this transform message. Here in transform message, that is our we are setting a payload, and that payload is whatever we set in the set, this set payload inside the on error continue. So it will print the same one. Means it not means printing means it will give the same payload to our user here in the postman. So it started the application. Now hit the request, and I will just press the mail debugger. I will just press this F6, F8. This F8, this resume F8 means it will stop your flow wherever your next debug point. So F6, if I will do F6, it will stop here. But if I will do F8, or if I will click on this play button, this is kind of a play button. If I click on this, it will just stop where your error is occurred, or it will stop where your next debug point, because error is occurred at DB, so it stopped here. But if I click on F8 again, it will stop at the next debug point. So here our payload is this error handled in try block of private flow. So then just go next, transform message, it will set the same payload. Go next and see the error handled in try block of private flow. So we got this payload. Okay, but now I will show you one more thing again. I'm just keeping this on error continue. Let me show you. I don't want to use try catch. I will just use on error continue in the main flow here, and set payload inside this, logger inside this, delete this one, and I'm just removing the try catch flow. It's a repetitive example, but still I want to show you. Okay, so here set payload in the handled in on error continue. Okay, continue of private flow. It's a repetitive example that I think I have covered already yesterday, but I want to show you guys again. We saved it, and now let's see what will happen. Just to remind you a little bit. So when flow will call, error will execute here, error will come here, it will handle in on error continue. Then I want to show you what will happen. It should go to next transform message, or it should go to the logger. If these loggers, I want to show you that. No problem. There's two loggers, but it's fine. I want to show you that. It will, and one moment. These all examples you need to practice at your end to understand more. Because what I'm doing in my system. But when you will do hands-on, you will get better understanding. It successfully started. Go back to our postman, hit the request. Now call the private flow. Call DB connector. There is an error occurred. It handle in order continue, set the payload, logger. And if you see, it did not go to the next component of DB because error executed there, it handled. It will go to next component of your main flow because that was the flow ref. And from the flow, from the private flow, it is handled successfully. So that's why it's moving to the next component. And that is our transform message. So go next, you will get error handle in order continue of private flow. So that is done. But now what will happen if I use on error propagate here and or error continue here? So I want to show you that on error propagate and move the set payload inside on error. This is the logger. Remove on error continue. Save it. So this time it will not go to transform message. It will go to this on error continue block because it will, if when error will occur at DB, it will go to on error propagate. It will handle here, but because it's on error propagate, it will not continue the flow. It will go to the main flow as an error because error executed, it handled it. We set some error message or something, and then it will go to main flows error handling scope. And there it will handle as on error continue, on error propagate depends, but we are using on error continue. So it will be inside on error continue, and whatever we do in on error continue, that thing we will get in the output. Like we are setting a payload, then that payload will come out from the main flow. So it started successfully. Hit the request. See this. Okay, error occurred. It will go to on error propagate. If you see payload is set, error handle in order. Okay, that's wrong because I did not change the message, but okay, but it's clear to you, right? Because we are setting this payload. So go next. Error. If you see, still there is an error because it's coming out from the on error propagate. Now go to next is on error continue because it will handle that error will, because we are using our, instead of default handler, we are using our own handler, and in that we have on error continue. So it will be executed. It is not going to transform message because it will not stop. It will just execute the flow and will come out. So if you see here, error handle in main flow on error continue. Okay, so it handled successfully. So this was all about what we say, all about on error continue, on error propagate, and our Tricat Scope. One more thing now I want to show you. I will just fix this error. I will make the query correct. Now I will show you something about raise error. So there is a component when you want to raise an error based on some validations. Raise error. I will keep this here. Okay. So I will keep I will give a custom type like CUSTUM custom. uh, db error. This I want to show, and description you can say like db custom error. When you use this, why you use this rage error? Rage error generally we use to raise an error when there is some validation error or something coming. When you do some validations and based on that validation, if validation fails, then based on that you want to raise some error. You don't want to proceed, right? So it will raise this error. Like for example, from DB, we want to do something. For example, uh, I will put a choice router. In choice router, I will put error and I will put a logger. Okay, in the choice router, I will put a condition in the when. This is a choice router that I will show you guys how it works. But at the moment, I'm just showing you to define you rage error. So choice router is a like a choice. We have when and otherwise in this choice router. So when there is a condition, there will be a condition. Click on when. You can add that condition here. And when this condition will be passed, then this will execute. When it will fail, it will go to default error. So flow comes inside the choice router. It will check when and otherwise. And if when conditions execute successfully, it will go inside this one. If it is failed, then it will go to default one. So what I will put here, like first I will show you payload. Sorry. Uh, Payload not equal equal to null. When payload will be null, then only it will go to rage error. Otherwise, it will go to logger blow. But from the DB, we don't get the null payload. We get some payload because we are executing the query, and with that query we have this qpvals.query. Let me delete this comma. Okay, and that qp we are setting here. Okay, and now save this one. Run the debug mode. So this is all about rage error. It's very simple, but people generally they get confused how to use rage error, how not. So everything is here. I will tell you how we handle this rage error also. When we raise the error, how it will get handled because its error type is custom. We have defined our own error type, but mule error types that means mule automatically understand the error type based on the connectors, whatever connectors we have used like db and other data v or like some salesforce. Based on that it give you the error types, but this is our custom error type, so it will not be available in our error type handlers. So we need to explicitly define that when we were using. I will show you how we define it explicitly, but first I will show you how it will work. Let me clear the console. It will initializing, then it will start. So when there will be an error occurred, it will go to main flow. Then in main flow, it will handle and will execute and will come out on the flow. Next, executed, initialized. Now it will start. Okay, it's failed. Some error is there. Could not find error custom. Oh, okay. One moment. Custom DB error. So what we need to do, we need to define it like console. If you see, could not find error custom error. Failed to it's failing because it could not find error custom error. I think something I forgot. One moment. To show you this rage error. Just copy this. So I copied it. Was it? No, what we need to do. We have this one. Here we define custom DB error. If we run this without handling, then it will give you this type of error. So we need to put an owner propagate. And this owner propagate, if you see the type, in this type, I will need to use any, and let's see, and I will just put the logo. Actually, whatever we define, whatever default one we define, for that we need to add a handler. So debug it again. So raise error type like mule connectivity or something you can give, whatever depends on your requirement. Like here I give like custom DB error, but sometimes you can give like mule connectivity or anything like that. You can give your own error types like mule connectivity or order, like some invalid data, something like this. So we'll see it again, initializing. Okay, it's failed because could not find custom DB error. If you copy this here in owner propagate, we instead of this, I will just use our phone. Save it. Stop it. The debug point. Could not find error type. Why? What mistake I'm doing?
It will be single colon, not double colons. It should be single colon custom single colon DB error, or it should be double colon.
Okay. Should be type is this perfectly fine. It should work. Not sure what's happening. Let's see. We remove the double column. 11%. Actually, this raise error is it's a core component which helps you to raise exceptions manually and allows you to customize the error type and description, because in raise error we gave the error type and error description. So by using this, we can raise any core runtime errors also, like mule security, mule connectivity, like this. So it started successfully. So I think that was the issue. Okay, so you can raise core runtime errors also, like mule security, mule connectivity, like this. Okay. So now click on our this flow ref. It will go to private flow. Go to next. From the DB, we get some payload. So payload equal to null, then only it will go to raise error. Otherwise, it is going to default. It will execute successfully. Okay, but now I will change this condition. Payload not equal to null. Then our condition will pass, because payload is not equal to null. Then our condition will pass and it will go to the raise error component, and it will raise the error. Okay, so we'll see this one. So inside this configuration XML, our raise error component, how it looks like. It looks like this. Where it is, this one. This is the raise error component. So it looks like this complete one. So some people really like editing in the configuration XML. So for them, it looks like this. So you can, whenever you want, you can write it something like this. So main things are its name, its type, and description. So these are the main things you need to take in here. So it's started. Go back with the API. And it will go inside choice, and because payload is not equal to null, there is something, so that's why it went to raise error. It will raise the error. If you see DB custom error, so if you see error object, in error object it raised the error object. In error object we have description, what a description we said, detailed description will be same. Error type, it is custom DB error. So it's everything is like same. Okay, so this is arranging the same components, error components inside the error object. And you can, if you go to this x plus y, this x plus y will help you to evaluate. So here you can say error dot error message, because at the moment there is no error message, but error dot error description, you can evaluate like this. So it's also null. Okay, it's error dot description. This one, my bad. So error dot description is DB customer that we have specified in the raise error component. So now move to the next one. We'll see where it will go, the flow. Click on F6. It will come to on error propagate, and then it will go to main flow, and then it will go to on error continue, and it will execute as it is. So you see error handling on error continue. So like this, you can raise the error, and based on that, you can do anything, whatever you want to. I have put the on error propagate, but you can keep it here on error continue, or you can use a choice router in the raise error, and based on that, you can do whatever you want. Okay, so I want to do one more thing again just to test, because it just came to my mind. I just did it on error propagate, and I want to see what will happen. Because whenever we pass something in raise error, the type, this custom DB error, whatever type, it should handle this type. Otherwise, there will be an error. But I want to see again. First time we got the error, but I want to see it again. Okay, it started successfully. The last time the error was, I guess, that double colon that Vikas asked me to remove. because we kept it double colon. I think that was the issue. Now we don't need any owner propagate. We'll hit it again and we'll see how it will flow. So error raised, it will go to main flow. Here it will go to error continue and it will get handled. Last time our issue was when first time I was using custom double colon. So that was the issue, because if you see this one, error type, so namespace then identifier, and it should be separated by a single colon. So that is the main thing. If you will write the double colon, then there will be an error. So whenever you give the type, there should be a namespace then identifier, but both should be separated by the single colon. So that was our error. So I hope this is you guys now means for you guys everything is clear for these things. Now I will show you the last one, that is how to create global error handler in Mule 4. Okay, so in how to create, first I will show you. I will just delete this flow completely. I deleted. I will delete this also. I will delete this flow F. Oh, I deleted the DB also. Oh, sorry. That is required. Go to Package Explorer. Open my DB. And this one, I want to keep it. Should be here. And now I will delete this flow. And flow F. I will just make a simple flow. Okay, so now we have this simple flow. There is no error handlers, nothing. Okay, so now I will just go to the Mule palette here. The configuration of global handler will be divided into two phases. Okay, in first phase, I will show you the implementation. We will define error handler with appropriate own error components. In second phase, we will define global handler configuration. Okay, so first I will just take like owner continue. Owner continue. One moment. Not owner, not directly. First, we need to take error handler. Error handler. We will search error handler. Then this error handler. This will be our second step. Copy this. Drag and drop here. So if you see, it's we don't need to give inside a error handling. If you keep it like here, like drag and drop here, it will not accept it, because error handling, it's a error handling already is there. Error handler is separate, separate component. So that's why whenever we drag and drop, it will come out of the flow. It will place it here. Now we need to use in this owner error handler, we need to use owner continue, however you want, or error propagate owner continue, something like this. And then inside that, like we are setting a payload inside owner continue. This is done. So error handling, error handler, first we use error handler. Inside that we are keeping this. It's an independent error handler. So inside that we are keeping on error continue. Now we change this name. Instead error handler, we will say like global error handler. We change its name. Okay. Whenever in your flow any error will occur, it will go to this global handler. That's why I want to show you. But how we will use it. Now I want to show you the configuration XML for this global error handler. So if you see, Control A, Control I will align the XML. So here error handler, if you see, this is the configuration error handler, its name, its document ID. Then inside that we have on error continue, inside everything. So it looks like this in configuration XML. Okay. So what are the steps we follow? We search for error handling. One more important thing, when you are working in configuration XML, in that way, that time you don't see anything in Mule palette. Whenever you are in global elements, then also you will not see anything in the mule palette. It will show the components only when you are in the message flow. Then only you will see the components in the mule palette. Most of the developer asks me this question, why I'm not able to see this mule palette. Uh, but they did not notice that they are working on the configuration XML. So when you work on global elements configuration XML, you don't see anything in the mule palette. So to add something, you need to switch on the message flow. So that is the required thing, and it's behavior of the studio. Okay, so this is done. Now observation is that if you see this global handler is not it is not tied with our this mule flow. It is completely different. Okay, if you see configuration XML, it's a completely different. Okay, it's not tied inside the flow. That is one, and it has a name property that is like it have a name property that is there. You can give any name or anything, anything. Now it's done. We are just setting a message here. Instead of payload, I will just set like global error handler on error continue payload. Just let it, it's saved. So we created error handler, but now we need to configure it. It is the first step, but in second phase, we implement it. In second phase, we will define global error handler configuration. So for that, what you need to, because you are just running the flow, I will just show you something. First, I will stop this project. I will run it again. Go to debug configuration and just run it again. And I will hit this flow and we'll see what will happen. Okay, it will not go to the global error handler. It will go to default error handler. This is the default error handler of Mule 4 because we are not referring this global error handler from the flow or not from anywhere. So that's why whenever any error will occur, it will not go to this. For that, you need to configure it. You need to configure it means you need to give a reference to tell the runtime that whenever any error occurred, it should go to that error should handle via global error handler. Okay, so for that we need to do some configurations. So first I will show you without configurations how it behaves. Okay, so this will start. Okay, it will mule debug perspective because we were in the different perspective, development perspective, but now it will open whenever it runs in debug mode. It will ask you to switch to the debug perspective. Okay, so we switched it in debug perspective. You will just see the our flow and console mule debugger progress API kit console problems, all these things. When you run in normal mode, then mule debugger will not be there. Okay, so this is only to see your flow in debugger mode. Then only if you're running in debug mode, then only you will see in the on your AnyPoint Studio. So started. Now a success case. We got the success. There is no debug point. Now I will do one thing. I will just amend the query like same time like last time. Erase that. Save this flow. I will put a debug point here. No need because after it executes, then flow will automatically get stopped. So I saved it. It will restart the flow to accept the changes. So if you see this right hand corner down where my arrow is, this one, you see it will show you the progress 7%, 8% like that. Okay. So when error will execute, it should go to default error handler. It will not to go to global error handler because we are not referencing global error handler anywhere in the flow. Okay, so this is the one. Just clear the console. It's initializing and it will start it. Initializing and it will quickly start. Okay, application my DOB started. Clear the console, hit the request. You see, error is executed, error is occurred, so it stopped the flow. And now F6. So you see, it did not go to this. The payload was a global error handler, but if you see output, there is a payload. It did not go to, and the status is 500. So yesterday, as I have shown you, when there is a global error handler, sorry, default error handler, so HTTP status will be 500. The payload will be from whatever payload is there. So like that, whatever payload you are setting, it will be that, or I will show you that thing again. Here, the payload, there is nothing in the payload. So you are getting nothing. You're getting just blank. Okay, but if you there is any payload you will set or you will send any payload, then you will get that one. So I will show you that also. I will just set a body row and set the JSON. And in JSON, I will just say AD SS. So click it again. F6. This is the payload. Okay, so whatever payload already there, it will come out, but because of it is going to error default error handler, it is handled and will give you 500. Now the thing is, I want to handle it through global error handler. So what we need to do, I'll just terminate the flow because we need to do some configurations. So go to global elements. This is the global element. This is the global configuration element. So here, what you need to do, you just need to click on create. Okay, here you need to go to global configurations. This is global configurations. Then click on configuration. Okay, so you will get this. Okay, so here default error handler, HA profile, some uh, options are there. So I will select global error handler that I have created in my main in the message flow. Okay, so this is done. Other things you not need to worry. I just click on this information button, HA profile. Even I never use this. So, okay, so it's done. So just click on OK. So our configurations are created. Now go to the message flow, save it. Okay, so everything is done. It will execute it will restart. Okay, no, we need to debug, proceed. Now we will see, we'll put a debug point here. So it's a very simple. First, you created the global error handler, and then you are going to global elements, and there you are creating a configuration. In that configuration, you are just mentioning your default global error handler. So here, default error handler is global error handler. We are not giving default error handler the mule itself. Like now our default error handler is global error handler. So mule runtime will understand that, okay, this time I don't need to use default error handler of MuleSoft, but because the developer is itself is referring me to use this as a error handler. Okay, so it will start this. So in my opinion, like it is it is really useful aspects of the platform. Like global error handling framework is one of the most useful element. Okay, so to make it successful, we need to identify all the positive, negative scenarios in our APIs, and based on that, we create this global error handler. Because we need to understand which error handlers, like where we need to use on error continue, when we need to use on error propagate. So based on that understanding, we create all these error handlers on error continue, on error propagate. Based on that, we select its error type also. When we select on a, like when we need to continue the process, when we need to stop the process, what we need to do. So you need to have a complete understanding. then only you create this global error handler. Okay, and it's really important. So this is the one. It's deployed. Now click on the flow. It's executed. Now here error occurred. You see, if you see earlier it was going to default error handler, but now it's going to global error handler. And there we are setting a payload. So click on F6, and if you see here, you get the response: global error handler, own error continue payload. Okay, so this is our error handler, how we do that. Okay, and I think one more thing I want to show. Okay, there is something I want to show. One moment. Uh, I guess there is one more thing, like we need to reference an error handling configuration from a flow. Okay. When it is reside outside the flow, okay, there is something. This is the flow, and here inside the flow, I need to use something like error handler ref equals to its name, that is global error handler. This one. Yes. Yes. Just close it and then come out. Go to global elements, read this configuration, and this is the we are referring global error handler reference like this. If we go to again, you see error handler error hyphen handler reference global error handler. So this is also one how you reference, how you give the reference to global error handler. Okay, this is also one kind of example. So it is starting. I saved it, started the application, click on this, execute the flow, and now okay, stopping. Still it is in running mode. So we'll start initializing. Started, close this, request again. If you if you see, it is coming to the set payload. So you can give the configuration here, or you can refer it from your error handler with by using this tag error handler reference global error handler. So you can do like this also. So there are two ways. Okay. So guys, this was all about our error handling. I want to show you one more thing here that is about until successful, but let me quickly just finish this. Go to message flow, because there is some things that we do with the until successful. So until successful as a scope, I will show you first here until. Just click until. So click on this. Attempts to route a message to the message processor. It contains in an asynchronous manner. Routing is considered successful if no exception has been raised, and optionally if the response matches an expression. So this is the description of component, but I will explain you. So the until successful scope processes the components within it until they succeed or exhaust the maximum number of retries. So whenever there is an error, because there is if there is an error occurred, and if we are using until successful, and in until successful we need to give maximum retries. So based on that maximum number, it will retry. It will not. It will retry again and again with the our DB. Okay, and after that, whatever number we gives, after that also, if it does not make a connection successfully, that will it will come out. So let me do some mistake here, like in the password. I'll just remove 3, just OK, and go to console, sorry, message flow, save this. And now instead I will use until successful. I'll keep the DB inside the until successful. So until successful, there open this component, and there is max retries, minimum millisecond between retries. So this is this one. The first one is how many retries you want. I want only 2 retries. Okay, because I want only one actually, because otherwise it will take too much time. Okay. So this one max retry is 1. Whenever an error occurred, it will retry one more time. Okay. So second option is millisecond between retries. So it is specifies the minimum interval between 2 attempts. Okay, between 2 attempts to process, and it is in millisecond, and default value is 1 minute. This one. Okay. So let me save it. Let me run it and debug mode, and we'll see. We are just wrapping our DB connector inside until successful. Okay. And to replicate until successful school, I have configured the retries interval. Okay, I have done one thing. I think this time is too much, 60, because it's a 1 minute. So I need to change it. No issues, will wait for me. It's deployed. Otherwise it will take too much time if I change the values. Okay, so we'll see what will happen when we'll execute it. So when after retry also it will not get connected to the DB, then it will give you an error like retry exhausted. Okay, and that you need to handle. So it's deployed, hit the request. It is came here, but it's failed because if you go to mule debugger, error cannot get connection for URL this because our username password is wrong. Using password, access denied for user. Okay, so because of password, we are facing this issue. So now go to next. If you see, it is not going anywhere. It will just retry. Okay, attempt of 1 of 1. If you see, after putting after error, I clicked on F6 and it will give you a message like here. I'll just make it the bigger console here. If you see, retrying execution of event. Sorry. Retry execution of event attempt 1 of 1. So it is retrying this time, and we gave 1 of 1. If we gave value 2, then it would be showing like 1 of 2, but we have attempt 1, so it is just retrying one more time, and the time between the retrying is 1 minute, so it will take 1 minute, and after 1 minute it will retry, and during that retry, if connection got successful, then it will work. Otherwise it will raise the error again. Okay, and I will show you. So if you see, it is retrying this time, and here in mule debugger, if you see, there is no error at object at the moment. Okay, and there is nothing. Now we click on F6. It retried and we get the error object. Everything is there. Okay, and if you see, error type at the moment is a DB connectivity because DB connectivity is failed. But now if you click on F6, it came out of F6 and go to console, check this retry attempts exhausted and it's failing. If you see, this is our message. Error means in the logger for the related to until successful. So retry attempts exhausted and it's failing. After all retries also it's failing. So now go to this and just execute, and it will go because it will handle, and in order continue we have any. So we have type any, so it will just handled. It is just handled it. Okay. So now I will show you one more thing. I will see once it's come out of until successful. Earlier the error type was mule some DB connectivity, but if you see here the error type is mule retry exhausted. Okay, so you are getting mule retry exhausted. So in the case of success scenario, there will not be any error received from the DB or something. Your everything will be fine. Okay, and success response will be retrieved. In case of success, either until successful scope will not be executed, or it could be that the success response is received once retry succeed after a few times. So this is kind of a conclusion here. And this is the most important thing, because people, they generally, some people, they 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 struggle to get the error type, but whenever it will come out from until successful, the error type will be mule retry exhausted. Until successful retry is exhausted, you will get this error, means this will be your error type. Okay, and some more thing I want to show you this. Okay, so cause, what is the error cause? So you can get it in this one. So here cannot get connection for URL this. So it will, you can get the exact message here why it's failing. Okay, so that is the one. And one more thing I want to show you, this one. Error type, now it's mule retry exhausted, but inside the error type you will get the parent error type. So people who are working on until successful and they are struggling to get the error type, they need to understand, they need to keep in mind that in after until successful error type has been changed, but in the parent error type you will get the exact error type. What was that? It was the connectivity issue. Okay, and in the connectivity issue, it was this cause. In the cause you will get why it was failing. It's, you will get the connection. It was the connection error with this URL, that is the DB URL. So you can get everything from here, and you can, you can process your requirements. Like you can define, you can set the payload. Like in the payload, if you go to express.y, whatever you want to write in the set payload, you can set it here. Like you can check it here. You can evaluate the data view expression. So here, error dot error type, error type dot, inside the error type we have uh, parent error type. So first I want to show you error type. It is mule retry exhausted, but inside that we have parent error type. Parent error type. So if you evaluate this, it is mule connectivity. Now error dot EAUSC codes. I think it's inside this. This is simple. One second. Where was that? Okay, error dot exception dot cause, EXCEP exception dot. So this is, you will get error dot exception dot cause is this one. And this you can, using your data view expressions, you can split. You can, like, you can, if you want just to show you like cannot get connection till this, before whatever, before the question mark and after the column, whatever is there, you want only this. So for that you need to use data view, and with the help of data view expressions, you with the help of data view, you need to just cut this complete string and just take out the desired one, and you can do that in the set payload, and then your final output will be here. So guys, this was very important thing. It was very small topic until successful, but this is really it's very important, and main importance is about our error type, how to get the parent error type, because after coming out from the until successful, your error type will your error type will get override with error type as mule retry exhausted. Okay, so this was, we have done with the error handling part. So we have covered in two classes. I will. So in the next class, we will see the next topic.